Greetings to all. In this particular video, I'm eager to delve a bit deeper into the recent updates that have been implemented. Additionally, I'll discuss a few novel and thrilling features that are now available to us. The complexity is quite high, so instead of creating multiple short videos, we've decided to produce an extended video in which I will walk you through the assortment of new capabilities that Sentinel now supports. All right, let's begin. Since the previous videos that you've either witnessed or had the opportunity to experiment with on your own, some changes have occurred in this upper section. Additionally, several new functions have been incorporated here. I shall commence from the beginning. The concepts of short and long have been crafted in a slightly more visual manner, thus ensuring they are more distinctly delineated. Now let's delve into the initial section. In this part, there are several functions at our disposal that allow us to specify the dimensions of the wig and the body of the candles, including the smallest and largest sizes that are possible to utilize. Moreover, we currently have access to an insider-owed feature. It signifies that we possess the capability to examine the candle preceding this one, to determine if it qualifies as an insider, have available selections for the precise pocket where the device should be placed, whether within the body or integrated into the wig. What's more thrilling is that when we opt for the body setting, we're able to select whether the device should be positioned in the upper or lower section of the body or encompassing both sections. Additionally, we now have the capability to pick the type of bar at numerous intervals, deciding if we prefer. In order to achieve this, we categorically require the utilization of the City Haikenshi Indicator, which is quite a lengthy term. At this juncture, furthermore, we have the option to articulate to the standard mode. Should we desire to employ the wig, we possess both the upper and the lower wig at our disposal, from which we can select as per our preference. Additionally, I will remove this section right here between Haikenshi or the previously mentioned. We retain the alternative involving the wig. Additionally, we're capable of identifying dojis in this area. Therefore, at what point does a candlestick become a doji? Should it be classified as a doji, it shall be excluded from the count. We've currently made significant progress in cushion that right external vicinity, particularly from our mirage capability for both the individuals utilizing our mirage accordingly. Those who comprehend its application, oh my, Wig Finder. The Wig Finder has been incorporated into our array of tools. It empowers us to categorize specific wigs, determining if they should possess a minimum or maximum extent. Moreover, generate all these indicators during the cutting process. At this juncture, we are able to characterize it as a stipulation in this location, distinctly for the wig and the contact with the body. This implies that, take for instance this crimson candlestick. My aspiration is that it's visible to you in this spot, intersects with this wig right over here. At this juncture, a line would be in this particular scenario, there is an occurrence of a wig contact. As a threshold for participation, the wig, for instance, would be formulated the narrative of this wig Indian. Moreover, the Haikenshi metric present can be employed in the crafting of exceptionally pleasing artifacts utilizing the indicators. These indicators can also be harnessed as signals in this context, and do keep in mind, it is imperative that each criterion is satisfied. This implies that upon selecting two items here, the fulfillment there exists a significantly greater amount of external indicators in this scenario. Everything remains the same in the tuba ode up to this point. We've incorporated additional features into the signal location. To begin with, the exact placement of the signal is essential. The OHLC 8, which stands for open, high, low, close, continues to be present at the peak of the bar. Following that, the VOG remains unaltered. This refers to peaks that appear on the graph. You can configure this with the help of the footprint indicator. This indicates that in the event there exist accessible pockets in this vicinity and everything is nearby, it could potentially serve as an initial point of entry in a manner of speaking. Take, for instance, a stop limit order where you're looking to enter the market. The term we have now integrated this feature right here. There is a level of Wig Finder in proximity. It has the potential to be utilized as an initial level. Naturally, this enables us to pinpoint the subsequent fluctuation or peak as a suitable location for our entry point. Everything in this place has stayed consistent. What we've now incorporated is the min ticks from feature in virtually every spot. This implies that in the past, we utilized the min ticks to feature. This implies that if I possess an entry and my VBWAP is 5 ticks ahead, then I would prefer not to execute trades opposing it. Then I declare min ticks in relation to VBWAP at a minimum of 6 signifies that this particular signal shall remain unassessed. Moreover, we currently possess this min ticks function derived from VBWAP, indicating that at this juncture, we must maintain a considerable distance, that is to say, surpass the threshold that is present here. It is evident that we have successfully implemented this feature in nearly all instances. Consequently, it serves as an exceptionally useful tool to enhance filtering. I am not ready to commence when one engages in trading directly on the VU app, and merely a short number of quite pleasant enhancements as well. The intrabar mode is a relatively recent addition too. Currently, we are presented with 5 distinct trigger levels for selection. This consistently pertains to the most recently closed bar that undergoes evaluation in this context. and subsequently, this must be addressed in order to generate a signal for me. So, to illustrate, here is what happens when I opt for the bar open. Should the diminutive crimson bar be in a closed state, the consequence would be that the unsealed bar would find itself elevated in this vicinity. It is exclusively upon the subsequent bar's examination of this opening that all requisite conditions shall align, and it is at that precise juncture that my order shall be positioned. It may not be necessary to attain the utmost level, dictates. Yet having two texts to establish can be considered a favorable outcome is within my capacity. Two texts lower might indicate a negative result. This capability is now available to us. Additionally, I can apply this adjustment to the standard bar, that is to say, this particular one, or to the Heiken Ashi R, which, as mentioned before, we can showcase regarding the OHL rates. That is something we possess. Additionally, we might express our desire to evaluate the YPOC. We are conducting a trial with an extended proof of concept once more. Thus, in the event that an extended proof of concept is present in the vicinity, it is imperative to perform a test on it prior to receiving a signal. You are able to proceed with this without any additional stipulations, although perhaps merely a bearish bar is required to evaluate this extended VOC, after which we might consider entering. Furthermore, regarding the offset, a plus sign invariably elevates the entire setup. When we talk about volume, a minus sign, we're referring to the amount of trading activity contained within a completed candlestick. In this context, I'm able to discuss either the cumulative volume at a certain price point, or I can choose to focus solely on the bid or the ask. Additionally, I have the option to consider the combined bid and ask volumes, the volume delta, the percentage change in delta, or even the total count also of very trades. Exciting feature. All of these various metrics available. We are aware of the market memory areas potential that are evident from that I might want to evaluate. These are specific zones that we have the ability to mark on our charts. Additionally, there have been several updates for those using Mirage. We've introduced the Mirage gap along with the Conti regions, which require activation in this context. Similarly, within the Wig Finder, there's a necessity for a line to be addressed in a particular manner. Those items in the Wig Finder. Those among you who are familiar with its use understand precisely how to handle maximum or minimum thresholds. We possess the entire setup 5 times over, indicating that in the event we place multiple conditions here, then each one must be met without exception. There's no option for an OR function. Rather, if there are 5 functions that require activation, each one must be satisfied, or else the system will not function. Hence, it's an exceptionally truly significant innovation, one that we were eager to incorporate and gave considerable thought to the integration process, is the functionality of our satellite system. It is slightly more intricate, which is the reason I must delve into a bit more depth on this topic, yet it is an exceedingly thrilling feature indeed. We now possess the alternative to employ our personal indicators from Ninjatrader at our discretion. This implies that the entirety of Ninjatrader indicators on offer, that is to say, a substantial quantity of them, which are represented on the chart in the form of lines or displayed beneath as visual graphics, are now capable of being set up here as a specific condition. To ensure the functionality of this, there are several aspects you must remember. At this moment, I have incorporated Sentinel as usual. It hasn't been activated yet, as is evident from the display below, and I am about to proceed with loading this particular strategy right here. In order to specify the signal, I am simply going to establish a direction. For a short position, it ought to be, well, let's decide on a bearish trend and set a minimum volume threshold of 10. Conversely, for a long position, it should reflect a bullish trend and also maintain a minimum volume of 10. Let's go ahead and input this information here first. So, subsequently, for this to effectively interface with the satellites, it's imperative to delve into the indicators. And at this moment, I have the Bollinger Bands indicator uploaded here for purposes of demonstration, which you can observe in the backdrop. We have developed a fresh indicator accessible under the Twin Peaks section and subsequently within the Sentinel satellite area. It has been preloaded by me in this location. Focusing on the satellite itself, upon selecting it, a total of 5 individual slots become visible. I will overlook the remaining slots at this juncture, as they are of lesser significance at present. The pivotal aspect for us to consider is the presence of these 5 slots, signifying the capacity to incorporate a quintet of indicators from Ninjatrader. Therefore, ascending to this position allows us to view the comprehensive compilation of Ninjatrader indicators, the majority of which are conveniently located within our indicator list right here. I am planning to pick up the Bollinger binders over here. Moreover, we consistently have the values up to a trio of pieces in this place. It's crucial to remember, as you are also aware in this location, that there is invariably a related tooltip that appears upon hovering over it, indicating that the initial value consistently extended an invitation to the standard Bollinger signal here, interval that is adjustable within a given indicator. A full stop is invariably observed. In such an instance, I adjusted it to 21. The sequence isn't consistently identical. However, within the confines of satellites, value 1 invariably represents the full stop. In this situation, the number 21 and the subsequent value remain as the parameters in question. This means that in this case it is a 2, and it is important to understand that the data is loaded in the background in the satellite indicator, but it is not displayed graphically. This means that if I hadn't loaded the Bollinger changes individually as an indicator, we wouldn't see them in the chart. However, the data is still available in Sentinel. And please ensure to keep this instance concise. A slightly modified Bollinger. I have displayed 2 standard deviations and a 21 period range here accordingly. I have now established the identical setup over here in the satellite system, Bollinger bands, with a 21 period range and 2 standard deviations. This implies that what is currently visible to me here can likewise be utilized in the Sentinel platform. To configure this properly, I must initiate the strategy with Sentinel at least one time. It's not possible to do this within the standard configuration pane, and that's a crucial point to note. I'm going to kick it off right here, and then we'll give it a bit of time to crunch the numbers. At this juncture, it seems somewhat inconsequential, yet it's essential for demonstration purposes. Just bear with us for a brief interval. Upon the strategy being fully loaded, we are presented with a button for the RTS window, that is to say, the real-time settings, situated up here. Should we proceed to select it, we are then able to carry out the necessary configuration inside. It is crucial to note that the strategy needs to be active and loaded. Without this, accessing the data is not possible. With that in place, I am now capable of proceeding to satellite with my brief signal. And also the definitions. What is meant here? Upper, middle, and lower. These appear to be the diagrams that are visible to me at this location. I will examine the signals closely. At Bollinger, we possess the plots that undergo evaluation right here. The upper band, the middle band, and the lower band. Assumed control of the entire operation. It's crucial to grasp that this is the link to it. What actions can we take at this juncture? At this point, we may declare, to begin with, in a succinct manner, that there are extremely comprehensive tooltips available. Kindly peruse those as well, to ensure you comprehend the significance of all these figures. At this moment, what might we possibly declare? We're present for a brief period, and let's express our curiosity in the lower segment of the Bollinger bands, specifically the Bollinger lower. Currently, we are presented with numerous choices. We could declare greater, or perhaps greater than, or equivalent to, lesser than, identical to, or equivalent to, ascending, this implies descending, that this consistently points in an upward direction from these intersecting settings downward direction. In our scenario, that would be the lower band. We're aiming for our present price, that is to say, the Bollinger band, to exceed the price that we're currently employing as our benchmark or the value in question. As the magnitude increases progressively, the situation becomes more apparent. Consequently, new fields will be inaugurated. The lower boundary of the Bollinger bands, which is to say the inferior limit during the period of the candlestick under examination, ought to be, in this particular instance, more substantial, meaning it should possess a greater price than any predetermined value. It scarcely holds any logic in this context, considering the mean price that is established in this place. Or exceed the size of the bar open, for instance. So, let's examine this particular red candlestick, where the bar open is positioned at this higher point. We then require the stipulation that the spawning band ought to be situated above the bar open. This would render it somewhat incorrect here, indeed incorrect in nearly all places. However, if we stipulate instead that the spawning band needs to be below the bar open, then we have the option to just reverse it to a lesser size. Therefore, this implies that the Bollinger band, specifically this one right here, ought to possess a lower price point in comparison to the bar open, such as this particular one. Hence, this specific criterion would be applicable in this instance. Additionally, this applies to the high, low, and close values. We could articulate that concerning the VOG pertaining to the constant value. For instance, if we encounter indicators that do not create the same average in this area, but rather are exhibited beneath the chart, akin to an ADX, for instance, or any other tools that might be present in this space. It is possible to subtract a numerical value. The numerical value that's down here that has a curve here is supposed to be greater or less than a fixed value that I enter. So ADX greater than 20, for example, whatever. However, I possess the alternative to connect this with one of the additional values. It becomes thrilling, for instance, when we observe values at this lower level with elements that intersect, akin to an ADX, where you might have a crossing of the ADX or perhaps the DM, the ADX. In such cases, we are able to declare in this spot, for instance, our desire for a surge here, such as wanting the ADX or some other metric to demonstrate an upward trend. Mark and that chasai. We could also say the Bollinger Band here, the lower Bollinger Band should be rising or should be falling. This means that you always look at the current candle that is being evaluated and the candle before it. So now if we say downwards and we look at this candle, then that would be correct here, because in this bar, the price here is lower than in this bar, so it would be correct. In that case, there's no additional significance to be found in this context. When I mention this crossing, it's necessary for me to determine an alternative value to which the crossing is related. It's not within the realm of possibility for Bollinger Bands to intersect. From a technical standpoint, it's unfeasible. However, should I possess values here that are capable of intersecting, then it becomes feasible for me to declare, let's say, that I have incorporated an ADX here with a trio of values, and if, for instance, this particular value were to traverse and go beyond the value from value 2 that's present here, otherwise, please scenario, always read the description here. Be accurate. We tried to make it as comprehensive as possible. That is quite impressive. Henceforth, you have the capability to work in an exceedingly diverse manner, operate with a great deal of flexibility, and formulate exceptional strategies that will undoubtedly assist you in bringing your concepts to fruition. We constructed the entire structure right here within 5 distinct slots. This implies that you have the ability to specify as many as 5 separate items. As a result, it's quite an agreeable feature. Should there come a time when we discern the need for additional capacity, the system is capable of being augmented to accommodate that. However, I believe that managing with 5 slots is quite sufficient, as it's easy to make connections with that number. The one limitation you face does not work. Is the inability to create references from slot 1 in this case to slot 2 or slot 3. However, these are indeed unique applications. Should there be a requirement, do not hesitate to send us a message. Precisely, these are the very satellites that we have the capability to operate with in this location. An impressive attribute indeed. A considerable amount of effort has been invested into this by Citi. It's quite an abstract concept. Indeed, it's an exceptionally wonderful attribute, each for an extended brief period. Important thresholds remain unaltered. The trading period has also remained the same. However, in the realm of trade management, we've incorporated some minor yet useful additions. Similarly, within the break-even feature, you now have the option to adjust the entire setup. As for the trail stop, it's all about the pursuit, and for that, we've implemented a number of enhancements that work in conjunction with the standard bars or the Heikinashi bars. Additionally, quite a number of pleasant things indeed. Apart from that, the approach to handling finances, overseeing accounts, and the process of automation remains entirely unchanged. That's the entirety of the matter. We're looking at a handful of visual enhancements that have been made to be more transparent. Furthermore, within the RTS settings where we find ourselves at the moment, there is now the option to configure the actions of these categories across the majority of Citi's indicators, as well as those we have developed. This category expansion setting allows me to choose between expanded, collapsed, or auto modes. This invariably implies that whenever I initiate the window on this side, on auto, it recalls this particular functionality in the current state it possesses. Should I adjust the entire system to expanded, then upon opening, or when I interact with it here, it will consistently expand. Conversely, if I configure it to collapsed, then all elements will collapse. To provide a brief illustration, I am presently on the collapsed option, and subsequently ensure that everything is shut. Moreover, if I restore the settings to automatic, which is indeed my usual preference, and keep this unsealed, proceed to confirm with OK. Zachary, go ahead and reopen this. Subsequently, this particular section will stay unfolded. I invariably consider it to be more advantageous to arrange things accordingly. Precisely, that concludes our current session. I'd like to talk about these latest features. It's crucial to mention that, upon installing the update at this point, and as I navigate to the General section, we will observe the version labeled 1800. This indicates we've made significant progress, although we have not yet modified the filter. This detail is visible within the zip file when you proceed with this current version installation. It is essential to fully remove the Citi tools before you begin. This can be accomplished by going to the lower section, selecting Tools, and then opting to remove Ninja Script Assembly. Go up here together for a moment. Don't be surprised if you click on it. It always takes 10 and 15 seconds for this window to open. So please don't get impatient. This is completely normal for me here too, even though I actually have a proc station computer. It always takes a while because you first have to collect everything that is there in the background. And then this window opens. Before the update, utilize all name Citi. Therefore, choose every single urban instrument located right here. In case you're able to tap on each of them sequentially, it functions splendidly. Should you find yourself uncertain, consider our tools, namely Mirage and Wig Finder, which you initiate with a single run and by selecting Remove right here. After that, it might take a moment, possibly several notifications will appear. Having completed that step, you're ready to set up the latest version, acknowledge all the notifications, and thus you'll have everything set up. It's crucial to note the templates for Sentinel
Please make sure to
that you've
capture
crafted
screenshots
until now
beforehand
are likely
and
to
subsequently
become
move them over to the
incompatible.
updated
version. You're already familiar with the game due to the recent updates. So that was a crisp 20-minute update talk. I trust this will be of some assistance to you. Sentinel is under continuous development. It's an excellent tool. With some luck, we might actually make it out there this year. I urge you to keep engaging with the beta test quite vigorously. Notify us of any glitches, inform us about aspects that aren't functioning correctly just yet, and then, with a bit of hope, we'll be able to launch it in the near future and provide you with a host of additional superb features. See ya!